Hello, welcome to this channel. On this lesson, we are going to review how to solve equations with fractions. All right, let me go ahead and show you again what practice problems we have here. All right, I came up with 4 problems that we can practice to get better with this. The first problem here is like a proportion with a variable on that. So when I mean proportion, it's like you have two fractions equal to each other. All right, and the second is a little bit different than those. So you can see how I have modified these 4 problems here, and they all still looking very related but made a little bit of difference just to increase the challenge level. So I hope that at the end of this lesson, you would get better with solving problems of this nature. All right, let's go ahead and get started with that. All right, let's go to the first problem here. The first problem here is 4x minus 8 all divided by 3 is equal to 1 half. So how do we do this problem here? So I would like us to learn maybe this will be helpful, what we call cross multiply. Okay, so how do we cross multiply? So cross multiply just means that you're taking the denominator of this fraction on the right hand side to multiply the numerator of the fraction on the left hand side. And doing the same, the denominator on the left hand side would go ahead and multiply the numerator on the right hand side. So this is how you do that. And students like to put this cross sign here. So to make them see exactly what they're doing. So they would just cross the numbers that go to each other. And then again, you can see how this looks like the multiplication symbol, right? X, okay? All right, let's go. So that will be, and then I would say, okay, in order to do this right, you want to use parentheses most of the time, okay? Or you use brackets, okay? So I am bringing 2 over to multiply 4x minus 8, and I'm going to set all of that equal to, I am bringing 3 over to multiply 1. It doesn't matter if you have a single value or a single expression, just it's always safe to use parentheses, okay? So for example, like if I had x over 2 equal to 1 over 5, something like this, I could still solve this problem by cross multiplying, okay? I can just cross multiply like that, and I'm going to go with 5 multiplying x. You see how I'm using parentheses even when I have single expressions. So 2 multiply 1. So I'm using parentheses just to stay safe, okay? All right, 2 times 4x will be 8x, and 2 times negative 8 will be negative 16. That'll be equal to 3 times 1. 3 times 1 will be 3. All right, so here I am going to add 16 on both sides like we have just we've learned in the previous video. So you're doing the opposite of things, okay? All right, plus 16, that's what you call inverse operations. So I'm applying the inverse operations now, and that will be 8x equal to 19. So 8x equal 19 from this step here. I combine this 3 and 16 to get the 19. Alright, so next I will divide both sides by 8 because I have 8 times x equal to 19. In order to isolate the variable, I would have to divide by 8 on both sides. So 8 cross out 8 to give 1. That means 1x equal 19 over 8, which means x, because 1x means x, right? So done. So you can leave your answer like that, okay? Or sometimes you might be required to leave it as a mixed fraction. So if you wanted to do that, easy. So you just count how many times 8 would go into 19, like divide 19, and that would be 2 times, which is 8, and 8 again, that's going to be 16, right? So it will be 2 times 8 is 16, and then you take the 16 out from 19, and you're left with 3, and you put that as a numerator, and then you put 8 as the denominator. So that would be 2 over 3 over 8. So you can do that sometimes, but I think 8 and 19 over 8 is okay. All right. All right, let's go ahead and do the next one. So next one here is so it's tricked a little bit. So here I have extra stuff, extra information, positive 6. The first thing I can do is go ahead and get rid of that positive 6 first. So that's what I'm going to do. So I am going to subtract 6 on both sides. Okay. So notice that I'm subtracting 6 from 1/2. So in order to do it right, I will show you. I am going to just put my -6 here next to the 1/2. Cool. So instead of putting it just in the bottom, so I'll put over 1 as a matter of fact, just to make the -6 also look like a fraction as 1/2 is. So I would cross out the 6 here, because I do not need to do that over here because it's just a single number here on the left hand side. So that goes to 0. So I am now going to write 4x, bring this down, minus 8 over 3. So I did not have to do anything to this one. Now I have 1/2 minus 6, which is over 1. So now what we can do here is to subtract. And we'll be able to subtract 1/2 from -6. Okay, or I mean subtract -6 from 1. I'm sorry about that. All right, in order to do the subtraction correctly, so what I'm going to do is go ahead and then use what you call common denominators. You can find common denominators, or it's not necessary though, but I can say, okay, let me just show you what I would do. See, you can tell me if, I mean, you can tell if it's correct or not. Okay. All right, so instead of 6 over 1, because I want to be able to combine these fractions and or this number and this fraction, I will just change this 6, -6 to -12 over 2, right? Because I want them to have the same denominators. That's what I'm talking about, okay? So what I did was just multiply this 1 by 2 and multiply 6 by 2, because I want to make sure that I have the same denominator so that I can combine them one time. Good. So which means that on the right hand side here, I would end up with -11 over 2. Good. So I will just do 1 minus 12, that's -11, and then 2 is the denominator, so I'll just repeat that too. All right, so I have now 4x minus 8, 4x minus 8 over 3 is equal to -11 over 2. Good. So the next thing I will do here is to now cross multiply like we did in the beginning when we had problem number 1. So we had to cross multiply because we had a proportion. So now this is a proportion. So we do not have any extra number anymore. But we had +6, now it's gone. So what we can do is we'll just cross multiply now. Do the same process. So 2 times 4x minus 8, and that would be equal to 3 times -11. Okay, so when we clear the brackets, we'll just distribute. Remember how we would distribute 2 times 4x was 8x, and we also did 2 times -8. That's how we got -16 right here if you look up the problem number 1. So we're going to do the same and the same. By multiplying, we get 8x minus 16 is equal to -33. And what we can do now is to use the inverse operations to isolate the 8x. We'll have to add 16 on both sides first, and then we'll cross the 16 out. So if we do it right, we end up, so let me do it back, so we go backwards and find more room to do that. So I'm just going to write this 8 over here, 8x over here, equal to, now, -33 plus 16 will be -17. -17. Okay, yeah. -17. All right, so -17. Okay, then we will divide both sides by 8, and our final answer will divide both sides by 8, 8 over there, and also divide here by 8. So that means final answer will be x equal to -17 over 8. and then you can move the negative all the way to the middle of the fraction, and that's how you solve this problem. All right, I want you to try number 3. Pause the video, try number 3 out, see what you get, and then you can compare that to my results. All right, so here for number 3, we're first of all going to add 1/6 to both sides. Okay, so we'll add 1/6 to both sides. So how do we do that? We would just say plus 1/6. But when we go to the right hand side, we would add it differently, make sure that the fractions stay next to each other. So since we're adding 1/6 to both sides, because you have -1/6 and you're adding 1/6 to both sides, you can simply cross out this fraction like that. So you have 4x minus 8. And for 3, I need to manage my space a little better this time. So 1/2 plus 1/6. So we need to figure out how we can add this fraction. So what is, let me go ahead and do it this way. What is, let me take this away so I have enough room to do that. What is 1/2 plus 1/6? So what I'm going to do here is make sure I have the same denominator. I would multiply 2 by 3 to get 6, and also multiply 2 by 3 to get 3. So which means this will be 3 times 1 is 3 over 6 plus 1 over 6. So I mean this result here will be 3 plus 1, which is 4 over 6. So which means this result will be 4 over 6. Now we have a proportion. Finally, we have a proportion. So we are going to cross multiply this proportion. So we're going to cross and cross. So 6 would multiply, 6 is going to multiply 4x minus 8. That's what you call cross multiplication, right? Minus 8 equal to, and 3 is going to multiply 4. Good. All right, so it's time to use the distributive property. So I'm going to distribute 6 over and also distribute 6 over. So 6 times 4x, that's going to be 24x. And 6 times -8 is going to be -48. That's going to be equal to 3 times 4, that's going to be 12. Good. So we have 24x equals 24x minus 48 equals 12. So what we can do here now is go ahead and add 48 on both sides, right? And then we're going to drop this 24x. We're going to drop this 24x, and we're going to add 48 here. Let's not forget that. And we're going to cross this 48 and 48 out. And we're going to be left with 12 plus 48. That's going to be 60. Good, we're almost done. And finally, in order to isolate the x that we're looking for, we'll divide both sides by 24. So, and then we cross 24 and 24 out, and we're left with x. Let me see if I can squeeze in my answer here. So 60 divided by 24. I'm thinking there's a, there are numbers that can divide these things. Okay, let me see. I can divide 60 by 12, right? Because I know 12 times 5 is 60, and I can divide 24 by 12 as well. So if I divide 60 by 12, I get 5. So that means x equals 5 over, if I divide 24 by 12, I get 2. So my final answer is 5 over 2. So make sure you compare what I got to your answers. Let's see what if you got it right or you need to make adjustments. All right, let's do number 4. For number 4 is a little different. So we have negative 3x on the right hand side of the equation. So we need to bring it over. Okay. So there's a trick now that I can share with you. There's a trick I can share with you. Okay. So one way you can solve this problem is to first of all start by putting over, making sure that each term and the equation is a fraction. You write each term in the form of a fraction. For example, the expression on the left is already a fraction because you have all over 3. And then on the right hand side you have 1/2, which is a fraction, but then 3x is not a fraction, so you just do that over 1. All right, so and then you're going to find what you call the lowest common denominators, okay, or common denominators. All right, so meaning that you want 3, 2, and 1 to somehow become the same number. All right, so how you do this, it depends on your understanding of multiplication, okay, how you find multiples of numbers. So what I can do here is I see that I have 3, 2, 1, and the lowest common multiple of 3, 2, 1 is 6. How I knew that is that I know that if I multiply 3 by 2, I get 6. If I multiply 2 by 3, I get 6. If I multiply 1 by 6, I get 6. So that's the lowest. So there are more. There are more. Okay, so I'm going to use this trick here to solve this problem. So I'm going to multiply uh, the first expression here on the left with 2. Okay, I can multiply with 2 the bottom, and I'm going to multiply the top with 2 as well. Because if I multiply the denominator by 2, I also have to repeat that on the numerator to keep the equation correct. So let me go ahead and just adjust all I have said so that we can all be together. So let's take this one out, make sure. Okay, so now I am going to multiply each piece by 2. So from this step here, I would multiply 3 by 2, multiply top by 2, multiply 2 by 3, multiply top by 3. Okay, by 3. Multiply, because I'm going to put over 1 here, I'm going to multiply by 6. I'm going to multiply by 6. Good. All right. So after doing this, um, okay, after doing this, I'm going to have, okay, this is what I have here. I have negative 2 times positive 2 here. You see that? So that'll be negative 4. So I have 4x minus 8 right now. So because I'm not ready to distribute yet, over 6 is equal to 1 times 3 is 3 over 2 times 3 is 6. Okay, so and I'm going to move to the next, which is negative 3x. It was negative 3x before, but now uh, it's gonna be 18x. I already have my minus sign here over 6. You see? So now you can see that everything that I have here in the denominator, they're all 6, right? So which means all each piece, each term, and the equation is being divided by 6. So what we can do now is to make all the 6 disappear. Okay, because if we're dividing each term by 6, it means that we can do this problem here by just clearing out the 6 now that we have the same denominator for everything. All right, so now it takes us to negative 4 times 4x minus 8 is equal to 3 minus 18x. This is one way you would do it. This is one way you do it, but there's another way that you would do this problem. Okay, so another way that you can do it, I will show you. So keep an eye on this. So you can always rewind and adjust the video to your understanding. Okay, so I am going to take this out. This is very correct, but I wanted to show you another way to do this thing. Okay. I'm just trying to clear out a lot of information so that I will be able to finish this problem quickly. So here, another way you can do this, like I said, you put over 1 here, is to find the common denominators for everything. And we said that lowest common denominator will be 6, or the lowest common multiple. Some people call lowest common multiple. So it's 6 because you're looking at the multiple. What are the multiples of 3, 2, and 1? So we know that 6 is a multiple of 3, and 6 is also a multiple of 2, and 6 is also a multiple of 1. Okay, so because of that, we will multiply each fraction. So this is another method. Okay, you will multiply each term in this equation by that 6. Okay, you will multiply that. All right, everything, each piece you will multiply by 6. So that's what we're trying to do here now. Okay, so I am going to multiply here by 6. I'm going to multiply 1/2 by 6. I'm going to multiply it with 3x, which I put over 1, by 6 as well. Good. So when I do that, and then I will just have 6 times that, just negative 12. But do not distribute yet. Just be patient a little bit and leave the 3 over there. Then it's equal to 1/2 times 6. 1/2 times 6 is going to be 3, right? See? Divide 1/2 times 6 divided by 2. I mean, that's how you get 3. Okay? Otherwise, you can just write that as 6 over 2. So if we want to be patient a little bit, that would be what? 6 over 2. Then minus, so 3x times 6, that's going to be 18x. Remember that we put over 1, but then we just go ahead and still do that. So from here, I can actually use this 3 here to divide this 12 here to get negative 4. This is exactly what we got the last time before I started showing you this method. 6 divided by 2 will be 3. Okay, minus 18x divided by 1 will be 18x. You see what we got again? So this was the same uh, result that we got the last time, where I got 6, everything 6 in the denominator, and I said you can cross out the 6. So this is what it always comes to. Now you can distribute the negative 4 here over, so that you have negative 4. Negative 4 times that, okay, just go ahead and write negative 16, right? Okay, negative 16x, and negative 4 times negative 8 will be positive 32, and we just have 3 minus 18x. So be careful not to subtract 18 and 3. Okay, so now we can add 18 to both sides so that we can combine the variables. So we're going to add 18x on both sides, and we can cross this out to get 0, and we'll combine 18x and 16x. So negative 16x plus 18x will be positive 2x. And then I'm going to drop 32. Notice how I multiply negative 4 times negative 8 to get positive 32. All right. Okay, so that will be equal to 3. Good. So I am going to subtract 32 on from both sides. So, and when I do this, I will cross out 32 and 32. Positive 32 and negative 32 is 0. So that's why I'm crossing that out. All right, and then you are going to move to 2x is left. There's 2x here. It's left, and that will be equal to 3 minus 32. 3 minus 32 is negative 29. And then you divide both sides by 2. So dividing both sides by 2 gives you the final answer. That means x equals negative 29 over 2. Good. I think this is a good exercise. It's good to review this. And I think you are ready to solve equations with fractions. And then you can see that this is a little bit much more interesting compared to the ones we've done previously. So I hope this is helpful. Continue to practice, and only when you practice more, you can get better. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe to this channel. Make sure you like, and make sure you share with friends and family. See you on the next video.